Okay, good day once again. So we will proceed with our second activity. So this second activity is the usual, siguro it's the usual length of the problem you would encounter during official exams. So we have here the problem of Mr. Henry Labasan. So Mr. Henry Labasan is engaged in a rent-a-car business to cater tourists who are visiting Tagbilaran City. His investment consisted of the following. So we have here 2 units Toyota van. So these 2 units are worth 2 million. That's already the total. Then cash which he deposited with RCBC 50,000. So if you have noticed on the first part, it is already the first transaction, which is the investment. So by knowing that, we must number your chart of accounts. So cash in bank is number 1, accounts receivable number 2, tires and tubes inventory number 3, prepaid insurance 4, transportation equipment 5, accounts payable 6, so on and so forth. So I believe there are 14 account titles here. So again, you just have to number the account, these account titles. So let's proceed to the next page of the problem. So you have seen that the date is May. So again, if there is no year in the problem, you could simply use the current year. So that will be May 1, 2020. But this is not the first transaction because again, in the previous page, it was mentioned that there was an investment made. So for your entry in the first one, that should be the investment of cash, which is cash in bank, GL1, 50,000. Then for the transportation equipment, that is GL5, 2 million. So in the debits, there is no strict rule that what is mentioned should be the first. So you could just interchange your account titles. So you could start with transportation equipment or you could start with cash in bank. Credit, since it is an investment, that should be H. Labasan Capital worth 2,050,000. Again, do not forget the folio. You have already numbered your chart of accounts. Going back to the problem, rendered transportation service to various tourists who roamed around the city to watch. We are still in May 1. Bought gasoline and oil for the 2 units Toyota van worth 3,500. So going back to the chart of accounts, what is the proper account title? So I have listed here in my Excel. So the proper account title is gasoline and oil. That's GL11. That is an expense. Then you purchased it, so your credit will be cash in bank, 3,500. Transaction 2. Rendered transportation service to various tourists who roamed around the city to watch the Sandugo Festival. So you already rendered your services and it was not mentioned whether it's a cash or credit transaction. So if the problem is silent, it does not mention any credit or on account or a promissory note, consider it as a cash transaction. So you have received payment of cash, that is cash in bank. Credit, your source of income. So in this case, look at the chart of accounts. So that is rental revenue, GL10. That will be your credit, 20,000. Next transaction. Paid business permits and licenses, including that of the Land Transportation Office, 15,000. So again, payment of your permits and licenses. That is a privilege of having a business. Look at the chart of accounts. Chart of accounts is here. Taxes and licenses, GL12. Then since you have paid, that is credit, cash in bank. So this is the transaction. Again, do not forget the folio. Next transaction. Rental revenue for the week from tourists for visiting Panglao Beach Resort, Lobok River, and Chocolate Hills, 12,000. Again, it's not mentioned whether there was credit or on account, so consider it as a cash transaction. So debit, cash in bank, credit, rental revenue. That is worth 12,000. Again, do not forget the folio. Next transaction would be received a bill from Petron Service Center for gasoline withdrawn on account. So it was done on account. You did not pay. So you nagpagas ka but you promised to pay. It was done on account. So debit, gasoline and oil worth 15,000. Credit, accounts payable worth 15,000. Again, do not forget the folio. It is found. It can be seen in your chart of accounts. Okay, where were we? So the next problem is paid in advance car insurance on damage and third-party liability. So usually if you have a rental car or rent a car, you need to have car insurance just for not really calamities but fortuitous events, and in any case mga accidents. So this business paid in advance. Usually car insurance paid in advance pang yun na siya. So look at the chart of accounts. That is prepaid insurance because you paid it in advance. That is 7,300. Since you paid it already, that is cash in bank. Where's the problem again here? Where is it? We are already in 10. Bought spare tire on account from Tagbilaran Duratrack. So we purchase a spare tire. Let's look at our chart of accounts. What is the proper account title? Tires and tubes inventory. Was it done on account? Let's look at the problem. Yes, on account. So that is accounts payable. 8,500. Again, the folio. Don't forget. Next is May 14. Rental revenue for the week. So this is similar with the previous activity. So you have earned income but partial is paid in cash and some customers were promising to pay. It was a credit transaction. So cash in bank and accounts receivable credit your rental revenue. So this is how it looks like. This one. Then we have another account or another transaction. If you have noticed, there is another line here. So even if it's of the same date, but take note, it's of different dash, it's of different transaction, meaning you have to separate your journal entry. So let's try to see what transaction that was. Payment of the Petron Service Center bill. So this is in relation to May 8. That was 15,000. So you credited accounts payable here so that you will have a positive balance in your utang. Then in May 14, you are paying your balance. So you close your accounts payable. How to close it? Debit your accounts payable to close this this one, the gasoline and oil. So by this transaction, accounts payable for the gasoline is already closed. Then since you paid, you forgo your cash. So that is a credit of cash in bank, GL1, 15,000. Next transaction. Paid driver's commission for the week. So, let's look at the chart of accounts of what is the proper account title for that. Driver's commission. Usually, manggod og touring or mga kanang agencies bitaw in tour guides. The drivers there will be paid commission lang. So, you have an expense for your drivers. Since you paid them, that should be a credit of cash in bank worth 7,000. Do not forget the folio. Next, check out of Toyota van and replacement of exploded tire and repair of side mirrors. That's worth 3,500. So that should be the maintenance of the car. And since it was not on account, so you must credit cash in bank. So that is repairs and maintenance. Look at the folio in your chart of accounts. Then credit cash in bank. That's worth 3,500. Again, do not forget the proper usage of the money columns. Next, receive the bill from Petron Service Center for gasoline withdrawn on account. So, nagpagas na pud ka. It was done on account. So, debit, gasoline and oil. Then, it was inutang, so credit accounts payable. So, again, the folio. Just look at your chart of accounts that we have numbered a while ago. Received cash of 15,000 from Cebu Lions Club for services that has not yet been rendered. So what happened is gibayaran ta una, but we did not render yet services. So that is pre-collected income or unearned income. That is our liability. So look at our chart of accounts. What is the proper account title? So we have here unearned rental revenue. So it's a liability, so that is a credit. What we have received is cash in bank. So debit cash in bank, credit unearned rental income. So it's important that you know the meaning of each account title so that you will know what happened in that transaction and you could choose the proper account title. Next, same date, a different transaction, same way of how we did the rental revenue a while ago. So, debit cash in bank, 12,000. Then on account, that is accounts receivable, 15,000. Then credit rental revenue for a total of 27,000. So this is the one. So, since this is a long problem, I have already exhausted the first page. So it depends on your on how you wrote in your general journal. If you skipped a space, it could be that probably 15 or May 16 is already on the next page. So the folio in your ledger will be changed. So in my case, I ended on the second transaction in The general second, I ended in the second transaction in May 22. So for my first page, it's up to this transaction. So to be uniform lang, I haven't changed yet my solution. So let's just skip one page so that whenever we will have further activities, uniform ang atong paging sa general ledger. And I mean, yeah, in our folio, in our general ledger, and also with our general journal. Then the last transaction for May 22. So, pay driver's commission, same transaction a while ago wherein we debited commission expense, credit, cash in bank. So, that is worth 7,000 for the commission of the driver. Then again, do not forget the folio. That is found in your chart of accounts that we have numbered a while ago. Next transaction is May 23, collected the customer's account on May 14. So let's try to look at what happened in May 14. So that's worth 10,000. We have collected it. What we did in May 14 was that we have a debit of accounts receivable worth 10,000. Since we collected it, it is now converted into cash. So debit, cash in bank worth 10,000. You have to close the accounts receivable in May 14. That's why we have to credit accounts receivable worth 10,000. So this one. Next transaction, May 24, partial payment of account with Petron Service Center, 12,000. So we have paid partially our balance with Petron Service Center, 12,000. This is in relation with May 17. Our amount was 17,500, but we will pay worth 12,000. So our balance should be 5,500 after this transaction. So our debit, since that is partial payment, we have to lessen our accounts payable. Normal balance of accounts payable is credit. To lessen it, we have to debit accounts payable. Credit, since that is partial payment, we forgo cash worth 12,000 in the account title of cash in bank. So this is your journal entry. Next, partial payment, pay the account of May 10 with Tagbilaran Duratrack in the amount of 8,500. So let's go back to May 10. So we bought spare tires, so that was tires and tubes inventory, credit accounts payable. So what happened is that we partially paid. We fully paid. What is it? 8,500? Yeah, yes, it's 8,500. So fully paid. So close the accounts payable. Same with May 24. So close accounts payable, credit, cash in bank, but the amount should be 8,500. This is the transaction. Again, never forget the folio. Next transaction. Received 2,800 as payment for a special trip to Baclayon Church. So we rendered services na ini-avail for a special trip. Take note, we are a rent-a-car. So someone hired us. It's a special trip. It's not our usual tour. So we receive payment of 2,800. That is cash in bank, credit, rental, revenue. So this one, 2,800. So for the next transactions, so it's a bit long, no? Anyway, so for 26, we have another transaction, paid gasoline and oil for cash. So that is the recording of an expense. Gasoline and oil, and payment was in the form of cash, credit, cash in bank. Do not forget the folio, that is GL11 and GL1 worth 1,000 pesos. Next transaction. Refunded the amount of 15,000 to Cebu Lions Club regarding May 22 transaction because the trip was cancelled. Let's go back to May 22, diba? If you could recall, they paid us first and we have not rendered services. So where is it? Here. This one. But unfortunately, the trip was cancelled. So what we would do is simply reverse this. Close the unearned rental revenue and forgo the cash because we will give it as our refund. So debit unearned rental income, credit cash in bank, return the whole amount, and do not forget the folio. Next transaction, rental revenue for the week, 27,000, broken down as follows. So same procedure with the transactions before. Debit, cash in bank, 20,000. Then some customers did not pay you yet. That is accounts receivable worth 7,000. Credit rental revenue worth 27,000. So do not forget the folio. Observe the proper usage of the money columns, class. Next is 29. Pay the driver's commission. So same procedure. So debit, commission expense, credit, cash in bank worth 5,600. If you have noticed, nagbalik-balik lang ang ilahang concept. Payment of expenses, debit, an expense, credit, cash in bank. So, or if that was giutang, credit, accounts payable. Same with May 30. So if you have noticed, the 14 transactions are just nagbalik-balik. So you have to solve problems for you to be able to master them. So, bought gasoline on account from Caltex. That's what I said a while ago. Gasoline and oil, credit, cash in bank. Accounts payable because that was on account. Well, in 31, you paid your balance in the previous transaction. Close the accounts payable, credit, cash in bank. Because you are already paying your account. So, this one. Another transaction, there is another dash. Collected in full, the customer's account of May 28, 7,000 and May 22, 15,000. So, it's a collection. So, you could just do this in one accounts receivable. You do not have to separate it in your general journal, but you should have a subsidiary ledger for each customer and each supplier. So, since that is collected in full, you debit cash in bank the total of 15,000 plus 7,000, that is 22,000. Credit, you have to close or lessen the balance of your accounts receivable. Therefore, your credit is accounts receivable. Again, do not forget the folio. Received cash for 3,000 from Cebu Employees Union for services that has to be rendered yet. So, again, that is another unearned revenue. That is our liability. Gibayran ta una. So, debit, cash in bank, kay gibayran ta. Credit, unearned income, which is a liability. So, unearned rental revenue is your credit following the chart of accounts. And lastly, minor repair of Toyota van. So you already know if any repairs, the proper account title is repairs and maintenance. But again, look at your chart of accounts if that is the account title that was used in the problem. So this is a form of an expense. So you debit repairs and maintenance, credit cash in bank. Do not forget the folio and the amount. So your debits and credits must be equal with each other. And also, in your general journal, you do not add the total of the debits and the total of the credits. There's no adding here. So if you have noticed, we have used 2 pages of your journal. So this will be used for when you would make the ledger. So the JE for the folio, it depends on where you wrote your transaction. So May 1 until, for my case, since I did not skip any space, May 1 until the second transaction of May 22, my folio in the general ledger should be JE1. But starting from the last transaction in May 22 down to May 31, that will be JE2. So again, another assignment. So you have to make the general, you have to post this transactions in your general ledger. So I would expect by next meeting, we have already the posted transactions. So for the second activity that I have given you, we are already done. If again, my advice to you is advanced reading. There are a lot of resources in the internet. Or if you have accounting books, if you have friends who have taken up accountancy, borrow their books. Or for those ABM students, there are problems in your book. So please keep on practicing the activities that I have given you. Answer it again without scanning your notes, scanning the PDF files I have given you, or even the videos. So please try to solve the problems on your own. Always practice them until you will get it. And time yourself. So keep on practicing until pas-pas na mo solve, pas-pas na mo analyze, because you really need the time element here. So this is yet the first part. So you must master, you must have an accurate answer in your first step, because the first step is the basis for your second step. The second step is the basis for your third step. Third step is the basis for the next step until the last step. So 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, and 8th step to the 9th step. But basically, it all boils down to the previous steps, which is journalizing. So that is all. Thank you for listening and enjoy your day.